If you're a mid-career tech worker earning $500,000 in total compensation, you're probably assuming that when you hand in your resignation, you walk out with roughly that amount. After taxes, sure, but you're expecting the core number, the equity, the salary, the bonus. Here's what nobody tells you: that $500K package isn't actually yours to take whenever you want. A significant portion of it, often $200K or more, can vanish in an instant if you leave at the wrong time. We're talking about equity cliffs, and they represent one of the most expensive financial traps in tech that most workers never see coming. The anatomy of an equity cliff. Let's break down how this actually works. When you join a company like Google, Meta, or Apple as a software engineer at a mid-career level, your compensation package typically looks something like this: $200K base salary, $80K annual bonus, representing 40% of base, and $220K in stock grants spread over 4 years. That $220K stock grant doesn't arrive all at once. Instead, it vests according to a schedule, typically 25% per year over 4 years. This means in year 1, you earn $55K invested equity. In year 2, another $55K vests. Same for year 3 and year 4. Now here's where it gets dangerous. Many companies structure their grants with what's called a cliff. This means that before you hit that 25% vesting threshold, usually after 1 year, you get absolutely nothing. Zero, not a penny of that equity is yours. But that's just the first cliff. The real killer is what happens at the 4-year mark. At most major tech companies, when you hit your 4-year anniversary, something dramatic happens. Your remaining unvested equity from your original grant completely vests. So in that final month before your anniversary, you might receive $80K in equity that was previously unvested. But if you leave 1 month before that anniversary, you forfeit it entirely. Now multiply this across multiple grant refreshes. Let's say you've been at your company for 8 years. You've received equity grants in year 1, year 2, and year 3. Some of your year 3 grant might have a separate cliff coming at year 4 of that grant cycle, not your employment anniversary, but the grant anniversary. This is where the $200K number comes from. The average mid-career tech worker walking away before hitting all their cliff dates leaves approximately $200K to $300K on the table. That's not hyperbole. That's documented across dozens of exit interviews and case studies from places like Blind Levels, FYI, and even official tax documents filed by former employees. # case study. The $180K mistake. Let me walk you through a real example. Meet Sarah, a level 4 product manager at Google based in the Bay Area. In 2020, she negotiated a package worth approximately $500K total. Base salary, $200K annual bonus, 20% equals $40K stock grant, RSU, $260K over 4 years. Sarah's RSU grant was structured as $65K vesting each year for 4 years with a standard 1-year cliff. This meant that for her first year at Google, she got nothing. At year 1, she received $65K. At year 2, $65K more. At year 3, another $65K. At year 4, the final $65K would vest. In year 3. Just under 4 years, Sarah got an incredible opportunity at a startup. The role was VP of product with a smaller cash compensation but significantly more upside through equity ownership. She was excited. She was ready. She took the job. Here's what Sarah lost: the final $65K from her original grant, not yet vested. A second grant she'd received in year 2 hadn't completed its 4-year cycle, roughly $52K remaining, a refresh grant from year 3, approximately $45K that hadn't vested total, $162K in forfeited equity. Plus the tax implications of exercising her options early. She owed roughly another $18K in taxes on stock appreciation. Sarah thought she was walking away with her full $500K package. She actually left $180K on the table. # why companies structure IT this way. Now you might ask, why would companies do this? Is it intentionally predatory? The answer is more nuanced. Companies use cliff vesting for a specific reason: retention. From a business perspective, equity cliffs serve as a financial incentive to keep employees long enough to reach maturity in their roles. A software engineer who stays 4 years typically becomes more valuable than one who leaves after 5 years. The employer is trying to align the employee's financial incentive with the company's operational needs. However, and this is crucial, companies have systematized something that sounds logical in theory, but creates massive hidden costs for employees in practice. 2023 report from Blind analyzing 50,000+ tech worker surveys found that 67% of tech workers didn't fully understand their vesting schedule, and 43% were surprised by equity cliffs when they actually encountered them. The problem is further compounded by deliberately opaque communication. Your offer letter might say $260K in RSUs vesting over 4 years, but won't break down the cliff dates, the grant anniversary dates, and the refresh cycles in language a normal person can understand. The multi-grant complexity trap. Let's complicate this further, because most mid-career workers face more than one grant cycle. Typically, companies provide an initial grant when you join, then refresh your equity annually or biannually to keep you competitive with market rates. So by year 3 of employment, you might have original grant, 4-year vest, 75% vested, 25% remaining year 2 grant, 4-year vest from year 2, 50% vested, 50% remaining year 3 grant, 4-year vest from year 3, 25% vested, 75% remaining if you leave on year 3. 5. You forfeit 25% of the original grant minus 50% of the year 2 grant minus 75% of the year 3 grant. Let's say each grant was $65K. You just forfeited $16, 25K plus $32, 5K plus $48, 75K equals $97, 5K. But wait, there might be another refresh coming in month 6 of year 4 that you'll never receive. And the vesting cliff acceleration that happens at year 4, when everything suddenly vests at once, also disappears. The real number is often closer to $150K, $250K, depending on grant size and timing. The overlooked counterargument now. Before you panic, there's something important to acknowledge. Not all departures result in losing all equity. The situation is complex because 1. Different companies, different rules. Microsoft's vesting schedule differs from Meta's. Startups often have standard 4-year vests with different cliff structures than public companies. Some companies are more generous with partial acceleration if you're laid off versus if you quit. 2. Acceleration clauses. In acquisition scenarios, many equity grants accelerate if your company is acquired. Sometimes 50% or even 100% of remaining unvested equity vests immediately. This happened for many Twitter and Alania employees. 3. Severance negotiations. If you're laid off rather than quitting, severance packages often include partial acceleration of your unvested equity. Company might vest an extra 6-12 months of your remaining stock as part of a separation agreement. 4. The market reality. If you have genuine leverage, you're being courted by a competitor with a higher offer, you can sometimes negotiate around this. You might ask your current employer to accelerate your vesting, or you might ask your new employer to match what you'd lose by leaving early. How to navigate this strategically. So what do you actually do about this? First, understand your exact vesting schedule. Request a detailed equity statement from your company that breaks down every grant, every cliff date, and every vesting date. If they won't provide this, that's a red flag. You deserve to know exactly what you own and when you own it. Second, map out your financial decisions around cliff dates. If you have $200K in unvested equity that vests in 8 months, seriously consider staying those extra 8 months. The opportunity cost of leaving early is often higher than the opportunity cost of staying longer. Third, negotiate around cliffs when changing jobs. If your new employer is offering you $500K, but you're leaving $200K on the table at your old job, ask the new employer to cover the delta. Some will negotiate an additional $100K, $150K signing bonus to offset your losses. Major tech companies often have approval authority to do this for senior candidates. Understand tax implications. When equity vests, it's taxable income. But when you forego unvested equity, there's no tax implication. Sometimes the tax consequences of vesting are actually more significant than the vesting amount itself. Run the numbers. Fifth, consider the timing of your departure. If you're planning to leave anyway, try to leave shortly after a vesting date, not shortly before. The difference between leaving in month 1 of a cycle and month 12 of a cycle can be worth tens of thousands of dollars. The bigger picture. Equity cliffs aren't necessarily evil. They're a standard business practice designed to solve a real retention problem. But for employees, they represent one of the most significant, least transparent financial hazards in tech compensation. The $200K that vanishes isn't a theoretical number. It's real money.